Thank you. Thank you so much. I just found out about 30 minutes ago that my co-founder wanted to surprise me here. She flew in from New York City, and Kanya is in the back of the audience. I had no idea she was going to be here. So I just wanted to thank you, Kanya, for coming here. She wanted to be part of all of this. So I was thinking about, the experience of Ideas Week so far for me, about what are the ideas that have excited me most. And it was actually one of the first ideas I heard on Monday morning. It was the idea of Vujade. How many of you heard of Vujade? No one. It's the first time I had heard of it too. It's the experience that is the opposite of déjà vu. The experience, the phenomenon of forcing yourself to look at something fresh, something for the first time, as if you've never in a million years experienced. Imagine if when the next time you walked into a school, it was just you have never been there before. This could be anything. It was just I'm just obsessed with this concept now. It's fascinating to me. And so I was thinking about how it fit in with sharing with you about the Future Project. I think it does. I have a sense of Vujade in coming here to Chicago. Even though Chicago's been in the press a lot, I've only have one real association with Chicago. This is the only way that I've ever looked at it. This is the second time I've been here. The first was these sort of 12 hours between about 9 p.m. on November 4th, 2008, and 9 a.m. November 5th, 2008. I was in Nebraska for some reason covering the presidential election at a college campus for the Yale Daily News. And I was with a bunch of students who were so excited about the sense of possibility in the country. And Blitzer comes on the screen, and we see Millennium Park, and hundreds of thousands of people there with this immense sense of fire in their eyes and excitement. And then I went there. I was having a connection flight home the next day, and went to Chicago in that moment for the first time to be in the airport. And I'll never forget going from one connection to the other, going through that. People were hugging each other. There was excitement. People were just looking at the newspaper. There were people who were crying, literally, as I remember going down the little conveyor belt and looking as people were just in awe of that moment. And not for political reasons I'm bringing this up, but for the sense of excitement. 2 years later, I ended up in the Obama White House because I was so inspired by this message, and working as a speechwriter there. Also, though, I was mentoring a student on the side for Michelle Obama's mentorship initiative. I was in a DC public high school about 10 to 15 minutes north of the White House. And I was mentoring a student named Sider, who was a Bangladeshi immigrant. He had scored a very low score in his SAT, and he had talked to me that he had really always dreamed of getting into the University of Maryland, but he didn't really know what to do. And my job was to work with him on his college essay. And I remember walking around the hallway with him. I was meeting with him about once a week, and I asked him, well, what is your passion? What really excites you? And he said, I don't know. I've never been asked that question before. And it was in that moment that a whole wave of experiences had come back to me. I was a reporter for my college newspaper, as I mentioned, and spent a lot of time in the New Haven schools covering the achievement gap. But something always felt a little bit off to me about talking about the achievement gap. Because when I spoke with students, and it only clicked for me when I had that personal experience, not as a reporter, when I talked to students, they told me they were bored. They told me they weren't excited. I talked to teachers. I said, what's really going on here at this school in New Haven? And they would tell me, I have these ideas, but I don't know what to do with them. I would speak to principals who would say the same thing. I've got these big ideas. I would say, well, what do you want to do with this? Well, imagine if lunches were full of amazing people from the community. Imagine if students were creating things and making organizations, but there was no time to do it, and this was not the stuff that we were saying as a country really mattered. And so it suddenly clicked for me that there was an inspiration gap in this country, an inspiration deficit in this country, that students who have privileged backgrounds, whatever they experience in school, have the opportunity to be connecting with people all around them who are inspiring them, exposing them to new ideas and new possibilities, summer camps and so forth, and that there was a real deficit of inspiration, apathy. And then I started looking at the statistics and finding that 8 in 10 students who drop out say it's not because of they're failing out, but because they're bored. And then I started looking at the science and finding that the cutting-edge science was showing that drive is as a matter of autonomy, of a sense of possibility and a sense of purpose, being connected to your passion. But the coolest thing was that as I started to do this, my co-founder, Kanya, was thinking about the same things. And then we started talking to our friends, and they were thinking the same things. And we started emailing scientists and academics and teachers and principals, and they were talking. There is a missing link of passion in schools. We have these big ideas. We put them on the wall that education's not about filling a bucket, but igniting a fire. But are we really taking a stand for that, I ask you, as a society? And so we started to talk to students and teachers about what to do about this, and we came up with the idea of the Future Project together with communities in New York and in DC and in New Haven. And the students themselves are the ones who came up with the idea, actually, of the Dream Director. So we have dream coaches. Those are the volunteers. Those are people like you who come in because you have a passion, and you can do something extraordinary for a student. But the Dream Director is a full-time role in the school. It's a transformational leader. It's Whoopi Goldberg in Sister Act 2. It's someone who is in the school and who understands two things. They understand that culture really matters. That if you're going to have a school where people are coming alive, they've got to understand the values of that school. They've got to be so excited about being there every day, and they have to be on the front lines. They have to be empowered. What if we had to put students in the front lines of changing their own schools? They also understand the power of passion, and they understand that passion is unlocked not by talking about it, but by inspiring people to build projects, to become entrepreneurs, to become innovators. That's how passion is ignited. When people start trying things and failing. That's the key. When our students now start to go out and they set an audacious goal, and they say, I shouldn't be setting that goal. I'm not supposed to fail. I say, go for it. And they go for it, and they fail. And that's the best thing of all. They go for something else, and they get excited. It doesn't become win or lose. It becomes win or learn. And so our dream directors are obsessed with the idea of how can we take every individual student in these little 15-minute moments, in workshops, after school, in school-wide assemblies, and ignite them. But do the same thing for teachers. Teachers begin to take on projects, and principals too. All in all, though, the idea is not that the dream director is the point or the future project is the point. In fact, we like to fade into the background despite these obnoxiously large buttons. We think that it's all about putting the people in the school, elevating them, and showing that they can do extraordinary, extraordinary things. I really believe that this is a matter of as a community, as a country, taking a stand and saying that childhood dreams, yes, but more broadly, that passion, that aspiration, that breaking limits, that taking risks, that innovating matters, and that is what we should be measuring, and that is what we should be managing toward, and that is what school should really be all about. So we are determined, absolutely determined, to get a dream director into every high school in this country, in collaboration with communities, with amazing partner organizations, hopefully, like Turnaround. We don't think that this is about, we think the dream director concept is bigger than the Future Project. Again, students came up with it, and that we need it in schools, in all kinds of environments. And we are specifically determined to bring the Future Project to Chicago in fall of 2014. Because we just think that in a city that, when I looked at it for the first time and experienced this hope and change and a sense of possibility, in a city that can be all about that, we need to reflect that in our schools, or else nothing else makes sense and nothing else works. So I invite you to take that stand with me. Thank you.